I can't fix anybody. Because when I found that freedom in leadership, the pressure went away from me. Then when the pressure comes off a person, their creativity, your brain just goes through the roof. Because when you have all this pressure, there's just a lot of things creating blocks in your mind where you can't create in your mind. So once you get that pressure off, that doesn't mean I don't have pressure. I just understand what the pressure is about.
Welcome to another episode of At Depth. Again, this is the show where we sit down with leaders, entrepreneurs, and operators to explore the through lines that connect what we value to how we lead, build, make decisions, invest money. It's fun because today we're taking a little bit of a left turn. And honestly, this is a fun way to do it. We've got Greg Taylor on here, and he is a professional executive coach, performance coach, and advisor. He works with a lot of high-performing individuals and teams to help them operate closer to their edge. Now, the thing is, this is going to be a lot of fun discussion here. Greg is a real live people too. And I'm going to let him introduce himself here in a second so that you know that he's real live people. But I think the fun of this conversation is that I get to talk to a lot of people and sort of harvest wisdom from them. But the fun thing about talking with you, Greg, is that you've talked to lots of people. I've talked to lots of people and sort of harvest wisdom from them. But the fun thing about talking with you, Greg, is that you've talked to lots of people. I've talked to lots of people. And this will be a neat sort of synthesis, I think, of the things that we've learned over the decades from all these lots of people.
Oh, yeah. When your mind's open to learn, somebody's going to teach you something.
Somebody's going to teach you something.
It doesn't matter.
You've been learning from lots of people for a long time. I think you ought to let people sort of into the back door here and show them a little bit of who Greg Taylor is and how you got to where you are today.
I was born in a coal mining camp in eastern Kentucky. There was a fence around it. I mean, you're 30 miles off the beaten path, which my mom and dad lived there their whole life. Make a long story short, both of my grandfathers were coal miners. One of my grandfathers worked 50 years in the coal mines, in the deep mines. My mom's dad, which who I'm talking about here, he was working the deep mines when the unions came in the 20s and 30s and 40s. I'm from a lineage of a coal mining camp in southeast Kentucky. And you're 30 miles off. I mean, you can't see sunshine back here.
You don't live in a coal mining camp anymore, do you?
Oh, no. We moved out when I was 3 years old. My dad was a teacher. He started a football program outside of Lexington, Kentucky, then became a principal. So I played high school football, won a state championship, went to Western Kentucky on a football scholarship, played 4 years there. And that's where I met my most awesome person that really changed my life, which is my wife, Mickey.
Marriage was a part of your very transformative journey.
Oh, yeah. Because I always tell people there's two things that change behavior. One is a trusting relationship. They inspire you, which is part of my definition of being a leader. Building trust, I can inspire you to do something you're not willing to do by yourself. Or consequences will change your behavior, negative or positive. So I saw a negative consequence coming to me from my wife and kids because they don't want anything to do with me. So I have the choice to change. I can become whoever I want to become. Okay. I could call myself, this is just who I am, or I can say, this is who I want to be. Now figure that out because your brain's malleable. So I became a new person. So my life story is from a volcano, same energy, explosion, right? And it kills everything down the mountainside, relationships. But a missile is built by many people. It's got the same amount of energy. The maker of it tells it where to go and how to get there. They can navigate through all the minutiae in life to get to where it needs to be.
And still deliver payload.
Yeah, you can love people. I tell people all the time, discipline and accountability has to be done out of love for it to be effective. You can't discipline a child out of hate. You can't do it out of frustration. You got to do it out of love because I love you so much. My mom would say this. I got spanked before I went to school.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And she said, look, you're choosing this behavior. So I'm choosing this behavior because I love you so much. If you keep on with this behavior in your life, it's going to be a bad reward for you. I can't let you do that. You're so much more valuable to everybody in the world for you to not to do this behavior. So therefore, if you do this behavior again, we'll be right back in here again doing the same thing. See, she helped me separate the person and the behavior. See, I knew she loved me. Now, does that mean I like getting a spanking? No, it did not. But I knew she loved me at the end. I mean, I made the choice. then she said, you can make those same choices. So I'm going to make a choice. Because leadership is about you make a choice, I make a choice.
It's a phenomenal thing when people in your life give you the chance to realize that life is choices. How did that feel in the moment for you? I mean, as a young person getting this sort of just driven right into your face, you've got a choice on who you're going to be. And then how have you seen that through your life? Has that choice come back to you again and again at different moments of inflections where it's like, who am I going to choose to be? Who am I going to choose to be?
Yeah, I had to choose to be, am I going to be some rock star? Look at me, world, look at me. Because I was out for the world to see me. Because I had a chip on my shoulder. So I had a fear of rejection and a chip on my shoulder. So it's all about me, 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 me. Because people, it's all about them, right? Does that inspire you to do something for them? I can sense people that's got the me, 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 me syndrome. I used to be that guy. They can't inspire anybody because there's no trust. Trust happens when you spend time with people and you understand who they are.
Do you still have a chip on your shoulder?
It's in there somewhere, but I can manage it. I know, I can feel it. I know when to walk away.
Where did it come from?
That's a great question. I don't know.
You just had it your whole life, the chip on the shoulder.
My mom gave me some insight on it. She told me your dad has it, your grandfather had it, and you got it. You have a fear of rejection. I mean, I'd fight anybody. I've been thrown out of every sporting event known to man.
Walk me through the journey in your own life of how there was that chip on your shoulder inherited. God love our parents, sweet people. We inherit some of their good things and some of their crappy stuff too. And then we get our own one way too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was with a client. He's an executive with Toyota, and we were talking about parenting. Most people have parenting issues. In my coaching, people have issues they're dealing with their parents, but they're grown-ups, right?
Right, yeah.
But we have to understand when we were growing up, our parents were growing up as well.
Yes, they were.
Now I'm 62. When my sons were 9, I was in my 30s. Well, I don't even know who I am. Now I'm trying to raise these 2 kids, right? I'm just going to make them meaner than a snake is what my mindset was. I'm going to teach them how to run over people that are bigger than them.
Make them tough.
Make them tough. My wife said, she would say, that's not going to work out good for you, man. So you're going to go visit them somewhere that you put them in there and you shouldn't have done that.
But that chip on your shoulder has softened over the years. What have been the softening effects on it?
Just the value and my identity. My identity is not in me. My identity is in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and my wife and my kids. And it's not about me. I've learned that it's not about me. I do a weekly fuel. I call it weekly fuel. And this past week was when the leader is focused on we and it turns into me, that leader is failing as a leader. The leader must understand it's got to be about we. You can't inspire someone if they see you and they feel that it's about you, they will not trust you. So therefore, you can not get them to take another step and grow in life.
What have you seen work for people who are stuck in the me? How do you get their feet dried off and get them to step out into the we?
So here's a freedom mindset. Like you said, how do you fix somebody? I'm not going to fix anybody.
No, dadgummit. Oh, Greg, I wanted to get fixed. Come on, man.
I mean, I can fix myself. That's the only person I'm going to fix. I can't fix my wife. I can't fix my 2 boys. I can't fix my daughter-in-laws, my grandkids, my parents, my brothers and sisters. It's about, can I help someone think and feel different? That's all a leader can do. It's all a parent can do. It's help them think and feel different. There's techniques to use to help people think and feel different based upon what the circumstances are, the relationships between them.
How'd you figure this out in your life? Walk me through the story of how you discovered this seat that you like to sit in with people.
Well, first of all, my dad was a high school football coach. I was in his pocket from 0 to 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was in his pocket, dude. I mean, mom could tell you stories. It's freezing cold. My other brothers and sisters all cold. They want to go home. They go home. I stay right there at 6, 7 years old. And it's 25, 30 degrees. It doesn't bother me. I'm there to watch my daddy's ball game is what I call it. You want to go home? I ain't going home. Maybe that's what I was supposed to do. So being a coach kind of fits into what I was supposed to do. But in my mind, coming out of college, I got a degree in finance at Western Kentucky University. And I said, I wanted to be a coach. Someone offered me a job at a high school. And I said, my mom and dad struggled financially, and I'm not struggling financially.
Yeah.
Now, they handled it well, and they could squeeze $1 out of a penny. And I watched them do that as their youngest child of 5. And it was amazing. But I said, I'm not doing that. So to me, being a coach was being poor. Well, I wasn't very intelligent. Well, back then, a Division I coach was only making $40,000, $50,000 a year.
Wow, how times have changed.
Boom. Yeah. Think about that. Even in high school, there's people making six figures in high school coaching high school football.
Yeah, in the right state, in the right city.
That's right. So I said, well, I went a different route. That's why I took my finance degree and I started working at a company called Averitt Express. They were like $30 million when I started with them, and a single owner had it. He started the company when he was 18 years old, no college education. Fast forward, I was there from 30 million to $250 million for 8 years. I became their director of pricing and billing. Then I became so smart, I thought I could do it on my own. So I started my own trucking company. My brother and his brother-in-law and myself. Then my other brother-in-law worked with us. He was our sales guru. 4 years, we built a $20 million company. And I said, if that guy over there were two big trucking companies in a city, probably 30, 40 miles away in Corbin, Kentucky, southeast Kentucky. If those guys can do it, I can do it. My motive was to build the greatest place to work ever. Well, that was the wrong motive. In my business failure, I learned 8 things. Number one is I didn't accept counsel. So it took me 9 months to learn something. I was a lot of, deflecting, blaming people, going through failure like everybody does. But at some point, I had to look in the mirror and say that I did this. And I had the courage to stand and look in the mirror and go, you did this. Until I did that, I can't learn because it's somebody else's fault. And as mama says, you can't fix it until you own it. So that day I started to own that failure. And probably a year to a year and a half later, through that process of growing in that, I wrote down 8 things that I learned during that process. And number one was due to lack of counsel, because everyone needs a coach.
Everyone needs a coach. You didn't accept counsel. Describe what it's like to sit in that reality of this was an oopsie.
I sat under my desk for probably 30 minutes. I cried for 30 minutes. I was drained. You remember, I'm a volcano, right? And I got beat. And I've been thrown out every sporting event known to man, because if you beat me, I'm going to fight you because I got to win, right? I got beat. And I had to come to grips with that. And there's a lot of people that don't come to grips with it because I allow my identity to get so much into my sports that I played in high school and college. And then I put all my identity into my work, my position, my title, my money, my car, my house. You can't live on. It's vanity. It's like chasing after the wind, as King Solomon would say. This empty. And thank God I woke up to that at 40 years old.
What has started to fill you up? I imagine that emptiness was pretty big. But as you've watched things come back into your life and find their place, what are the things that you hold dearly, that you hold to? Obviously, there's 8 things you learned from the process that you wrote down. What are the things that, after going through a cycle of failure and destruction and mayhem and emptiness, that you're kind of not immediately like, oh, let's just fill it all back up again?
Well, it's finding my purpose in life. So I read a book called Halftime by Bob Buford. Okay. And I would recommend anybody looking for fulfillment, because success and fulfillment are 2 different things.
What's success and fulfillment? I want to know real quick.
You know what success is? It's not fulfilling. Fulfillment is when something that's born inside of you comes out of you and you tap into that and you go do that. So when I give advice to people or someone asks me a question, that fulfills me, because God made me an encourager. And when I encourage others, I feel his presence. I feel fulfilled if I can help another person. So coaching people and speaking to people, and when they give you that feedback, I want the bad feedback too, because I want to get better, because nobody's perfect, but I can get better.
I like that word, fulfilled. If you just break it down to its 2 most simple words in the English language, it's full and filled, filled full. I had a great conversation with 2 brothers, and they asked me the question. They said, what have you noticed are the key traits or consistent themes in successful people? And I said, well, we got to stop you right there, because I need to know what your definition of success is before I try to answer that question. And they said, oh, like they've reached financial freedom. And I'm like, well, okay, I need a little more explanation on what is financial freedom? And it's like, well, the ability to not worry about money and go where you want and get what you want. It's sort of the quick summary of the answer to that question. I said, okay, all right. So if that's your definition of success, I would say that those people, the thing they have in common is disappointment when they've found success, some modicum of disappointment.
Yeah, that's what the premise of Halftime is. You have all this success and you get to the top of the mountain, you go, I did all of that for this.
For what? For this?
There's a lot of people that made it to the top and they had no family. They all abandoned them. They kept that volcano personality. They arrived at the top, and where's all my people at?
Can we just have a little dialogue here around this question? Because
Being, we can do whatever you say to do today.
thank you. Well, I appreciate that. Don't give me that much authority now. Come on now.
I will not tell you what you have to do today.
For lots of my life, actually, I've known that success isn't fulfillment. And I think you did a great job succinctly describing it and holding those two words in across the table from each other in a really helpful way. But I have also struggled with the fact that can you not make your success your goal and still work hard to achieve things like financial freedom, build a good business, a self-sustaining business, have excess income, give excess income away. I mean, can you
I like excess income, coach.
I do too, but I do feel like no one spends enough conversational time sort of holding these two things in an appropriate amount of tension with each other because here you're saying like success, once you achieve it, is empty. And yet, man, I got like, and I know you know this feeling. There was a time in your life where those legs just had to run. You just like, you had running in your legs and they had to run. And I sense this with these two brothers too. They've got energy. That energy needs to go someplace. I'm like, good for them. They're on an entrepreneurial journey and they're trying to figure out what success is. And they've set financial independence up there as like, that's the target, that's the goal. And you don't want to like totally wipe the target off the mantelpiece because you want them to keep running. Or like people who are runners and don't have a place to run, they cause problems. They kick the table is what they do. How do you temper that tension of like, okay, we're not aiming for empty success and yet good, run, put down some effort, like lay down some miles, go do hard things. Like coach me through that.
My biggest lesson in leadership, I'm going to answer the question in this way, is everybody's not me. My wife said, people are not you. Your sons are not you. They're different personalities. They want different things than you. And I would say, I don't really care. They'll do exactly what I tell them to do. There's no more discussion than that. I'm dad. Do what I tell you to do and shut up. Well, that works in those first 11 years. Those 12, 13, 14, I better have a relationship with them. Because their basketball coach, high school basketball coach, told me one day, he said, you know what, Greg, my grandfather told me that correction without a relationship equal rebellion. Think about that, coach. I said, are you trying to tell me something about my boys? He said, I don't know. Does it speak to you? Maybe I am, but I wasn't my intent. Because he told me right there in his own loving way that I don't have a relationship with my boys. So for me to inspire them to be their very best, I'm out. Because if you want someone to trust you, then you can help them do things they otherwise could not do. You got to be able to STOP, spend time on people. Stop. They'll never know that you care about them until you stop. Then if they feel that you care about them, their trust level goes up and they'll start doing things otherwise they wouldn't have done.
How do people find fulfillment? How do you help them? What are the tools that you use or the questions that you ask that help people sort of stir the pot on that question? Because you don't have the answer clearly.
For all your listeners, if you're wanting to find your purpose, which is your fulfillment piece, there's a Jay Shetty on YouTube, How to Find Your Purpose, and he's going to walk you through how to find your purpose. If you find your purpose, you're going to be fulfilled. But Jay Shetty talks about most of the time, our purpose is from a pain that happened in our life. So when I can help other people inspire and get over their fears, like I've got 2 or 3 football coaches that inspired me to do things I never thought I could do. I got a mom and dad that are amazing. I got brothers and sisters that are amazing. I got a wife and 2 kids. And I've got mentors that's inspired me. They saw the value in me where other people couldn't see the value. Everybody else saw the antics of my personality. But some people in your life just speak right in through your life and they pull out a nugget, go look at what you're good at. Because I do a weekly fuel. I talked about that earlier and I sent it out. You have to go tell people that I've honored so many people. Thank you for finding the good in me where others saw the bad. I don't want to talk about schools, but in schools, I heard people say I'm not good enough. You're never going to make anything out of yourself. But other people were telling me, Greg, you can learn whatever you want to learn. Well, at home, I heard the same thing. I can become whatever I want to become if I'm willing to work for it.
And you get a chance to do that with grown-ass people.
We're just a little kid in our heart. Coach, I look in the mirror and I go, who is that dude? I go, oh God. But I'm just that same little kid, man.
How do you honor those different people and those different ages? I mean, if I'm talking to 5-year-old Greg today and 50-year-old Greg today, I mean, how do you internally create space to sort of like recognize those little people and old people inside you and let them come out in love by spending time on people, by doing the work to take the volcano and turn it into the missile.
You know,
I mean,
whatever their Achilles heel is.
how do you integrate those people? How have you integrated your story?
Listen to them. My number one weakness in leadership until I was probably 55 was I didn't listen. So I had a friend, he's probably 72, 73 years old, worked for Jack Welch, and he saw Jack at a water fountain frustrated one day. And my friend asked him, so why are you frustrated, Jack? He's because I think I'm starting to learn the most valuable thing about being a leader is listen. He said, people just want me to listen to them. They don't want me to do anything because most leaders get to where they are because they do stuff. And people just want you to shut up and listen. See, that makes your mind go, hold on. Hold on. My personality and my life experience is about go, 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 do. But being a leader, they just want you to listen to them and do you care about them. That really just warps your mind.
Well, and it's interesting in the context of having your younger self inside you. There is that listening to yourself. Like, all right, 5-year-old self, how'd you feel? How'd you feel in those circumstances? All right, high school kid Ben, high school kid Greg. What did it feel like to have those conflicting messages?
I flipped them off. True story. I flipped my basketball coach off right in front of everybody.
You just said,
yeah, you don't like me, I don't like you. Then you see someone acting up, you got to ask the question, why are they acting up?
do you see a lot of adults acting up these days?
Well, just read the newspaper. I mean, they're all looking for something. They're looking for value, looking for purpose. Because when people say they're stressed out, I said, can I give you something to think about on that? You're stressed out. Why are you stressed out? Da, 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 da. I go, have you ever looked at maybe you have a lack of purpose in what you're doing? Maybe that's not what your purpose. Because I'm careful when I say that. I go, wow, this is a really good player for the guy that's paying me. If they quit, I'll just confess. Because I would call I say, hey, I had a great conversation with so-and-so today. Okay. And I know you don't want to know about it. I just told her, I helped her find out what her purpose was, and it's not working at your place. She said, Greg, listen, that's what I want. I don't want somebody working here if they don't want to be here. And if their purpose is something more than that, hey, I'm on their team. I was like, that's why we connect with each other. Because my target audience is someone who is mission-minded, purpose-driven, not looking to make $1 million. I'm going to do this. No, are you purpose-driven? Do you have mission-minded? Are you trying to support people and help people while you drive your company as an entrepreneur and owner?
Well, that's back to where we were earlier, which is this idea of how do you pursue business success while also pursuing fulfillment as the number one goal. And I think you just hit the nail on the head there. Your purpose has got to not be the almighty dollar. It just doesn't work that way.
Now, I like money. Don't confuse me. Okay. I like money. Money's necessary, but to love it and let it be my driving force didn't work for Greg. I'll just answer that. It didn't work for me. There's got to be something more than that. That's something I don't want that. That can't be my driving agent because you're going to burn out.
I want to go back to the Path Elements tool. Can you describe that to me? Because it sounds like this is a tool that you use to help people process toward an answer.
Well, it helps me understand them on a deeper level because I want them to understand themselves on a deeper level.
Tell me about this tool.
The more self-aware you become, Forbes has an article out, 90% of high performers are self-aware.
Really?
Meaning, why do you do what you do? If you don't understand why you do what you do, you're not self-aware. See, when I took my boys, they were 11 and 12, out to eat, and I asked them, tell me what you think about your dad. They just looked at each other, and they went, Dad's crazy, right? Because I headbutted one of my sons when he's 8 years old in a basketball game. Then my other son, which has played 9 years in the NFL, I yelled at him at a whole game. He was in the first grade playing with third graders. He ran up and sat down in my wife's lap. He was amazing. He was like the smallest guy out there. He ran and sat in his mama's lap, and his mom said, I'm so proud of you. You did a great job. I said, yeah, I was afraid Dad was going to yell at me. I said, you daggone right I would have. See, I was proud of that because he fulfilled me because he did well. My other son, very talented person, he can shoot free throws, right? We're the smallest team in the league. So if they foul him, we got a chance to win because he's a really good free throw shooter. But he didn't understand what I told him to drive down the lane, they'll foul you. And he kept saying, well, they're going to knock me down. That's okay. You'll shoot free throws. You're a great free throw shooter. You'll hit 40 free throws tonight. He just didn't understand the reasoning behind that, right? Because he processes information different than than his brother, than his mom. We all process information different. And if I don't understand how I can't connect to them. I can't help them in their journey.
So you sat him down as adults, and you said,
No, they were like 11 and 12 years old when I asked them, tell me what you think about your dad.
what'd they say?
They said, you got to stop yelling at us at our ball games. If you want to know who are you and how you impact people, you got to go ask them, tell me what you think about me. Have you ever had a 360-degree management survey?
Oh, I don't want one. That sounds terrifying.
Well, I gave
No.
myself one to my boys because I want to know. I want to be a good dad. I want to affect you in the right way. So I stopped yelling at them. That doesn't mean I never did it again, but it fell off like a cannon, man. And I would put myself in timeout because you can feel that, that bubbling volcano. I just get them walk away. At some football games, some friends, where did Greg go? And my wife would say, he's up there. He put himself in timeout because I can't control it. And if I want a relationship with my kids to inspire them to be the best version of themselves, I can't do that.
What are some of the other path elements? We've talked a lot about fire.
Fire, you have earth. If you think about the elements of earth, you got fire, earth, wind, and water. So fire is just going to, very demanding. It's going to get the job done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Most of your entrepreneurs and executives, they're fire. Then the next one is earth. It brings structure and discipline to the table. Think about earth. 24 hours in a day, you have seasons, it's rotating, it's same thing in and out, right? But if you have a visionary or dominant guy trying to drive a boat, if you don't have those structured people, you can't process to an answer. Somebody's got to build the systems and people and the processes to do whatever the company's doing. So you need those earth people. Then the next one's water. And if you think about water, this kind of goes with the flow, right? It conforms. But over the years, meeting all these water people, they're trust builders. My wife's water. Her number one thing is water. I'm fire, so she throws water on the fire.
Yeah, she does.
But to think about water, too, over a period of time, they're persistent, right? And they'll cut a new gap through a land through over time because they're consistent and they just conform. Then wind is your creative people, your sales people, your relational people. They're just all over the place. But you got to have those people. So the great coaches, they find these personalities and he gets them all working together, but he understands their personalities. And he's not going to put you into a situation where he doesn't feel like you can do that. Because a lot of leaders and coaches do this. They put a person into a situation. I would say, are they qualified for that? It doesn't matter. Okay, put them over there. Can't be mad at them if they can't perform. That's not what they're made to do. You would not make Tom Brady play linebacker. That's not what he does. He doesn't do that. You can't get him to play center. He doesn't do that. He's not a receiver. He doesn't do that. He's a quarterback. Let him be a quarterback. Because if you put someone outside of their strengths into a situation, that's stressful.
Oh,
And people wonder why people don't stay at work. They got all this turnover. I mean, they got people in the wrong chairs, but they're demanding them to do something. That's not what their skill set is. Then there's a whole nother what their skill sets are and what are they willing to learn, and their life experiences, and how does all that work? Because you have to understand the person. You got to understand their life experiences and their personalities inform their behavior, but it's not determinative though.
I was just doing the coaching with a young guy, and I was going to say it's an interesting thing when people come to this moment of seeing themselves just a little bit more clearly and seeing the reality that, oh man, I'm being asked to manage my job as a task person versus trying to think about, okay, what if I'm not a task person? What if I'm managing my job, but as a leader and I have some agency and a little authority? Well, then suddenly all the same stuff sounds fine. It's incredible to watch people's minds and faces light up whenever they come to realization, like, it's not that I don't belong on this bus. It's just that I'm in a very difficult spot. We consulted with a group out in Utah, actually, and we had an interview with somebody that was just, man, they were really failing. And the head of their division just came to him and just spent some time with him. I was like, I just think you're in the wrong seat. Literally moved him across the company, totally different job, and they are thriving. I think that's a hard thing as an entrepreneur, though, because for at least a big chunk of the season, especially the early days, you're trying to be everybody all the time to everyone.
You're morphing in and out of everybody, dude. Sometimes you forgot who you're supposed to be.
Yeah. So how do you help people? I mean, that is a very particular question I have encountered, have dealt with, have wrestled with in my own life. How do you move people out of that mindset? Because that becomes a limiting mindset. I've got to be all the elements to everybody all the time. Literally, it's like putting a big lead cap on your business. So how do you help them out of that?
But that's where some entrepreneurs, until they go get a Ray Kroc, the story of the McDonald's brothers, They had 2 stores, right? They couldn't run more one store because if they're not there, they can't run. See, Ray Kroc came in and developed the systems and the processes to run it. Now they're, McDonald's is one of the biggest companies in the world.
It worked out.
Yeah, because he built people, systems, and processes and leadership. I have a customer that's a franchisee. They have to build the leaders. They have to find the people, develop the people, then they find the leaders, develop the people, so they can make the same burger, same fries, day in and day out, no matter what's going on, because it's consistent. Then you're trying to build something that's consistent where people are inconsistent. That makes that tough. Sounds easy, right? Boy, when you're dealing with a human, it's multifaceted. It's not a machine. And a lot of people treat people like machines because they're just a part of the reason they're going to make a bunch of money this year. They're just a means to the process, right? And people feel that. If you want to know what goes on in a culture, ask them what their turnover ratio is.
Yeah, that's one of the leading indicators.
Leading indicators, dude.
People aren't happy.
One of my journeys of getting an executive job, one thing I learned, I didn't ask them, what was your average tenure of your leadership? Because every time I failed at something, what did I learn? Because I walked into the wrong place. Even though they hired me to fix it, they didn't give me an opportunity to fix it. They were just wanted more of what they had.
What was tough?
So I'm being fired, right? So you've hired fire to come over and fix it. And here's all my 40-page write-up of ideas. You're not interested in it. I was a missile at that point. So I just sat in my silo. Didn't say anything, and we parted ways, and so let it go. I never blew a fuse.
Well, let's put the flaps down a little bit and tip the nose downward as we land this plane. I'm curious what you think. If there's something that you would want someone to take with them, and I'm sure there is, you want people to walk away with one something. What is one something that you'd love to leave folks with today?
I call that my domino effect. So when I speak or do training classes, I always ask them at the end, what's the one domino you got out of this? What's that one domino, that one little thing? If you'll do it consistently, then you'll knock all the dominoes down. So if you take a domino about like that, the 29th domino is the largest building in the world. It's finding something little to do and go do that. So what to do? They have to have a positive identity of who they are. They got to know what their identity is. And where does that come? Because our identity comes from our personality and our life experiences. I won the parent lottery. I'm going to say there's more people that didn't win the parent lottery that won the parent lottery.
Yeah, it's true.
See, the more you understand yourself, until you understand why you do what you do. See, that's why I learned in my journey. I learned who I was, why I'm mad, why I'm upset. Now I can manage that. But if I understand why I'm angry, I can't fix it. Because a lot of people are just angry, and it breaks my heart. Now that I've learned about why I was angry, I can help them figure out why they're angry. They can yell at me, cuss me. They can do whatever they want to. I don't care. Because if I can help them think and feel different, that fulfills me, Coach. I'm not going to fix it for them. I'm going to help them think and feel different. Then when they process to their own answer, they're a free man because they can think. We have to build more thinking in our society. We have to think. Stop being emotional. Just think through this.
So what you're saying is that there is this, in order to find this positive identity, you do have to go back and unburden and release that pressure. There's some work. There's work to that. You can't just kind of go on a little retreat weekend and stand out there with a copper rod and hope the lightning bolt hits you and changes your chemistry. You've got to take the steps back to, all right, if we're in a professional environment, let's talk about what's influencing that. And I imagine too, you often will reach beyond just the professional conversation in order to help people do this work.
Yeah, 65%, we're not talking about their business. I'm just helping them think and feel different, Coach. It's through a conversation. Conversations solve problems. Asking questions, telling stories. Because when you ask a person a question, tell a story, you're opening up their logical side of their brain and their emotional side of the brain. And that's where learning takes place. And when those two things come together, they can process it. Now they can say, now this is what that means to me. Now they'll go try that in their behavior. But if they just stay emotional, they'll never try anything new.
Oh,
But if you can get them to think and feel different, so they open up their logical and their emotional, they put them together, they can process to an answer. Now they can change their behavior and try something different.
Oh, now if I was going to land the plane, I think I might land it right there.
Coach, as we said at the beginning, you're in charge, Coach.
Oh, I like that. I like that. If you can make someone think and feel differently, get that brain stimulated, then they can start changing their behavior. I like that.
I mean, before I started my coaching business, I went through a 21-day brain detox for 63 days because I want to know what my limiting beliefs were. Now, I did the work 63 straight days for 30 minutes a day. Dr. Caroline Leaf's her name. It's a 21-day detox, but I did it for 3. I said, I got a lot of funky things going in my head. Let's get after these things.
He's kind of been one of those authors and speakers that I've tracked with since I was a young guy. His name's John Eldridge. He wrote a book called Wild at Heart years and years and years ago. He is one of those authors who's not just kind of sitting on the same note. He has really evolved beautifully, but he's developed a pause app. I've done the 30 days sort of building a pause reflective habit. I think I've gone through it 6 times at this point. Same thing, just like letting that, okay, what is reality versus the reality that I think I'm living in? I think I live in a reality built on email and computer screens, and I've got a beautiful office, but it's amazing how distant the river. The river is 5 feet from my desk here, and how many days I can feel like that river is 99 miles away and irrelevant to me. And I'm totally there with you. That detox, so that you can sort of understand, here are the limiting beliefs. Here's that big package. We're going to just set them over there. Now we're going to start working on this positive identity. Who am I? How can I unpressure the brain? Who am I really?
Those limitations, I call it your closet. You got to get those skeletons out of your closet. So I've been on a 25-year cleanup of those skeletons in my closet. I drove 5.5 hours to ask someone to forgive me. I want that person out of my closet, meaning my head, because I did something wrong. I did something that was bad. That was 35 years ago. And I want him out of my closet. I'm tired of talking about it. It took me like 4 or 5 months to find the person. Then it was 5 hours from where I lived. I drove, ate lunch, make a long story short, and said what I said. And I'm sorry that I did that. I shouldn't have done that. Then he looks at me and he says, Greg, you'll never know what you've done for me. He starts crying. So we just hug each other and start crying. We haven't seen each other in 30-some years.
Wow.
I want to make sure I'm clear-minded. I got to be clear-minded. Then I can become the best version of Greg. Then I can deal with adversity. I can deal with people making fun of me. All that stuff doesn't bother me.
That's powerful. Greg, I have really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks so much for showing up and bringing...
You let me on here.
Oh my gosh, this has just been amazing. I think what's going to stay with me is this idea that, to be conscientious of what is success versus what is fulfillment. Who am I really? I bring my beliefs about who I am into everything, parenthood, my role as a husband, into my job, and that it can create a lot, and that the work's going to be tough. I mean, the invitation to do the work is a big invitation, but it's worthwhile. You can find that person and know that identity and live toward fulfillment because you know what fills you up. You've got that sense of clarified purpose. So I've got a lot to think about.
You put the work in, you can become whatever you want to become. And my mom told me that from day one of my life. Greg, you can be whatever you want to be, but you got to be willing to work for it. And she always said, it doesn't mean you'll get it, but you'll be a lot further along than if you don't even try. So I tried to play in the NFL. I tried to have a business. And I failed at those things. I failed at that because I'm going to look back when I'm 84 years old sitting in a rung chair. I took some chances and I got my butt served up. But I've grown into the person I am today because of those experiences and put it in the right perspective.
So everyone needs to just go find that one domino. After they listen to this podcast, they may be looking at that little tiny domino, that little itty bitty thing to pink. For me, it was the pause app. Can I pause for 1 minute every day? Can I pause for 5 minutes? Can I pause for 10? Greg, thanks for being here. Thanks for willing to find depth with me. Thank all of you for listening to At Depth. If you want to follow up with Greg, it's super easy. You go to findyourwinningedge.com.
Yeah, I'll just give you my phone number. Can I do that, Coach?
Yeah, give him your phone number, Greg. It's easy.
I love to talk to people and help people. 318-230-6481. And my email is greg@findyourwinningedge.com.
Greg's there for you. He's been so gracious to jump on, have this conversation. If this conversation resonated with you, there are more like them in the At Depth podcast. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. If there's someone in your world who's thinking about their purpose, where they're going, if someone you know is struggling with leadership, if you run a company, I mean, lots of people on this list run businesses, and you're at that point where it's like, oh man, we're doing good. It's not all about money, but it's not necessarily all jiving. Well, you've got 2 phenomenal resources here. You've got Greg, you've got me. Feel free to shoot me an email at the end of this podcast. It's ben@pivotal.com. Share this episode with them, and we're happy to have the conversations as it's helpful. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for all the listeners, man. Just get that one domino, and I promise you, just keep doing the right thing day in and day out, because I have a concept, FICK it. Don't say F-U-C-K it. Say FICK it, focus, intentional consistency. Your life will change. I promise you.
Thank you, Greg. My life's already changed just a little bit.
Ben, you're the man, Ben.
You're the man,
Thank
Greg.
you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thanks for joining us for this intentional conversation at depth. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a moment to subscribe and follow along. You can do this at theatdepthpodcast.com. Again, that's theatdepthpodcast.com. You'll find new episodes, show notes, and more conversations with entrepreneurs who are building what really matters. Until next time, keep going deeper and keep building at depth.